Okay, today we'll continue the nerves of the lower limb, right? Today we'll discuss about the posterior aspect of the lower limb. Everybody is very late today, right? So far we have discussed about the anterior aspect nerves. Today we'll discuss about the posterior aspect of the nerve. So before plunging to those nerves, we have to discuss about the sacral plexus, which gives those nerves. Okay, sacral plexus. The sacral and coccygeal plexus, right? Coccygeal means coccyx, are situated on the posterolateral wall of the pelvic cavity and generally occur in the plane between muscles and blood vessels. They are formed by the ventral rami of S1 to coccygeus with a significant contribution from L4 to L5, which enter the pelvis from the lumbar plexus, right? So nerves from these mainly somatic plexus contribute to the innervation of the lower limb muscles, lower limb and muscles of the pelvis and the perineum. So because they supply the lower limb, we are discussing them. Cutaneous branches supply skin over the medial side of the foot, the posterior aspect of the lower limb and most of the perineum. That is from sciatic nerve only, right? So this is the sacrococcygeal plexus, right? Everybody is so late. Right? From L4 to L5 is called as lumbosacral trunk, right? Remaining are different nerves. Okay, so this is formed by L4, L5 to S3. Okay, that is sacral plexus, right? And they have dorsal divisions and ventral divisions, different. You see, the superior gluteal nerve, inferior gluteal nerve, nerve to piriformis muscle, the sciatic nerve, which is from both dorsal and ventral. That means tibial part and common fibular part, like that, right? You have to learn this. The sacral plexus on each side of is formed by the anterior rami of S1 to S4 and the lumbosacral trunk. That means L4, L5. The plexus is formed in relation to the anterior surface of the piriformis muscle. Remember this because piriformis muscle is the most important muscle in the gluteal region, right? Which is part of the posterolateral pelvic wall. Sacral contribution to the plexus pass out of the anterior sacral foramina, right, and course laterally and inferiorly on the pelvic wall, right? The lumbosacral trunk, that is L4, L5, part of the anterior rami of the L4 and all of the anterior rami of the L5 courses vertically into the pelvic cavity from the abdomen by passing immediately anterior to the sacroiliac joint. You already know that. So that is briefly about sacral plexus, right? Gray rami communicates from the ganglia of the sympathetic trunk, connects with each of the anterior rami and carry postganglionic sympathetic fibers destined for the periphery of the somatic nerves. Okay. In addition, special visceral nerves, pelvic splanchnic nerves originating from S2 to S4, deliver preganglionic parasympathetic fibers to the pelvic part of the prevertebral plexus. So, sympathetic and parasympathetic systems we'll discuss in detail. in a later class, right? Each anterior ramus has ventral and anterior ramus has ventral and dorsal divisions that combine with similar divisions from the level to form terminal nerves. The anterior ramus of S4 has only a ventral division, no dorsal division. Branches of the sacral plexus include sciatic nerve, gluteal nerves, which are major nerves of the lower limb, and the pudendal nerve, which is the part nerve of the perineum. Numerous smaller branches supply the pelvic wall, pelvic floor, and lower limb. So, the sacral plexus gives rise to the sciatic nerve and gluteal nerves, and also the pudendal nerves, which is the main nerve of the perineum, that's why supplying reproductive organs, whereas the sciatic nerve and gluteal nerve supply the muscles of the lower limb, especially the posterior muscles of the lower limb, right? Most nerves originating from the sacral plexus leave the pelvic cavity by passing through the greater sciatic foramen, right, inferior to the piriformis muscle, right? Remember that, and enter the gluteal region of the lower limb. Other nerves leave the pelvic cavity using different routes. A few nerves do not leave the pelvic cavity and goes directly into the muscles in the pelvic cavity. Finally, two nerves that leave the pelvic cavity through the greater sciatic foramen loop around the ischial spine, right? That means sciatic and gluteal nerves, sacrospinous ligament, and pass medially through the lesser sciatic foramen to supply structures in the perineum and lateral pelvic wall. So you see, this is the anterior view of the sacral plexus. That means all of them are posterior, right? This is the sciatic nerve, now to quadratus femoris, piriformis, lumbosacral trunk, L4, L5, right? See, this is the one. So this is the greater sciatic foramen. These are the different nerves. Coming to the sciatic nerve itself, the sciatic nerve is 2 centimeter wide at its origin. That means it is a very thick nerve. In fact, it is the thickest nerve in the entire body. 2 centimeter wide at its origin and is the thickest nerve in the body. It leaves the pelvis via the greater sciatic foramen below the piriformis muscle. Below the piriformis and descends between the greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity along the back of the thigh, dividing into tibial and common peroneal nerves. Okay, sciatic nerve, tibial, and common peroneal nerves. So, in the greater sciatic foramen between greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity. Superiorly, it lies deep to the gluteus maximus, resting first on the posterior surface, that means ischium, with the nerve to quadratus femoris between them. So you see, greater sciatic foramina above the piriformis, this one is, and this one is below the piriformis, right? Observe the foramina because of the piriformis muscle. You see, this is the quadratus femoris muscle from here to here, and this one is the obturator internus, right? Superior gemellus and inferior gemellus. Right. So this is the sciatic nerve with its course and branches. This is the tibial nerve, right? And common peroneal nerve. This one is the common peroneal nerve. This one is the tibial part, right? You see the piriformis muscle. And also see the dissection, right? You see, number 22 is the sciatic nerve. You see how thick it is, right? So this is the piriformis, 18, right? See, greater sciatic foramen, right, below the piriformis, and sciatic foramen above the piriformis. Sciatic now coming below the piriformis muscle. You see, this is the ischial tuberosity, and this is the greater trochanter. Okay, so between them, right, middle point. Sometimes the sciatic nerve means tibial part and common fibular part, okay, common peroneal part. Sometimes they may pass below the piriformis, both elements, both the tibial part and common fibular part, but sometimes the fibular part may pierce the piriformis muscle, okay, and course its course. Sometimes the common fibular part exits from the greater sciatic foramina above the piriformis muscle, right? These are the different variations, right? It then crosses posterior to the obturator internus, the gemelli, and the quadratus femoris, separated by the latter from the obturator externus and the hip joint, right? So between obturator externus and hip joint and quadratus femoris and sciatic nerve lies the quadratus femoris. It is accompanied medially by the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve and inferior gluteal artery. More distally, it lies behind the adductor magnus, right? Adductor magnus, posterior to the adductor magnus, and is crossed posteriorly by the long head of the biceps femoris. Its course corresponds to a line drawn just medial to the midpoint between the ischial tuberosity, right, and the greater trochanter to the apex of the popliteal fossa, where it divides into tibial and common peroneal parts. So this is the surface anatomy of the sciatic nerve, right, between ischial tuberosity and greater trochanter. Articular branches arise proximally to supply hip joint and its posterior capsule. These are sometimes derived directly from the sacral plexus. Muscular branches are distributed to biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and the ischial part of the adductor magnus. Right? Remember that biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and some part of the adductor magnus. The point of division of the sciatic nerve into its tibial and common peroneal components is variable, very variable. Common site is at the junction of the middle and lower thirds of the thigh near the apex of the popliteal fossa. This is the commonest site, but the division may occur at any level above this point and rarely may occur below it. Okay, sometimes the division occur itself in the pelvis only, right? So common peroneal part, this one, and this one is the tibial part, right? So you see piriformis, right? This is the quadratus femoris. So quadratus femoris is between hip joint and sciatic nerve. Okay, remember that. You see these are the divisions, right? So this is where it divides into tibial part and this is the common peroneal part. So you see here it divides. 31 is sciatic nerve, 37 is common peroneal nerve, and this one 6 is tibial nerve, right? So you see sciatic nerve, tibial nerve, and common peroneal. Blood supply to the sciatic nerve in the gluteal region. Remember that sciatic nerve is supplied by the inferior gluteal artery and cruciate anastomosis. That means medial and lateral circumflex femoral arteries, inferior gluteal artery, and the first perforating branch of the profunda femoral artery. On rare occasions, it's supplied by branches from the superior gluteal or internal pudendal arteries, which reach the nerve on its medial side. Lower in the thigh, arterial branches derived from the perforating branches of the profunda or the anastomotic chain between them, or occasionally from the popliteal artery, enter the nerve on its lateral or anterolateral side. The numerous arterial branches to the sciatic nerve anastomose with each other to form extraneural and intraneural arterial chains. Okay, within the extraneural and intraneural arterial chains within or out of the sciatic nerve. You see, these are the perforating branches. You see, fourth perforating, second and third perforating arteries, right? First perforating artery. You see, first, second and third, right? Fourth. Okay. Here is the more. You see, this is the sciatic nerve dividing into tibial and common peroneal nerve. So this is the first perforating artery, second, third, and fourth. Okay. So this one is the inferior gluteal artery, right? Lesions. So the sciatic nerve supplies the knee flexors, that means posterior leg muscles and all the muscles below the knee, right? Which means that a complete palsy of the sciatic nerve results in flail foot and a severe difficulty in walking. Fortunately, complete sciatic nerve palsy is very rare. Remember that the nerve is vulnerable in posterior dislocation of the hip, right? As it leaves the pelvis, it passes either behind piriformis, right, or sometimes through the muscle, and at that point it may very rarely become entrapped or tethered. The piriformis syndrome is a controversial condition in which anomalous relationship between piriformis and the sciatic nerve is thought to cause pain in the buttocks and along the course of the sciatic nerve. External compression over the buttock in patients who lie in immobile on a hard surface for considerable length of time can injure the nerve. The nerve may be damaged or misplaced therapeutic injections, okay, in gluteus maximus. Sciatic nerve palsy occur after total hip replacement or similar surgery in 1% of cases, which may be caused by sharp injury, burning from bone cement, traction from instruments, manipulation of the hip, inadvertent lengthening of the femur, or hematoma surrounding the nerve. So all these causes may injure the sciatic nerve, resulting in palsy. For some reason, possibly anatomical, the common fibular component of the sciatic nerve is more usually affected. The patient has a foot drop and high stepping gait, right? So this is the safe area to inject, intramuscular injection. Okay, upper outer quadrant of butt or gluteal region. Okay, buttocks, upper outer quadrant, right? Otherwise it may damage the nerve here. And also we can block the sciatic nerve block. Sensation conveyed by the sciatic nerve can be blocked by injecting an anesthetic agent few centimeters inferior to the midpoint, few centimeters inferior to the midpoint of the line joining PSIS, okay, PSIS and the superior border of the greater trochanter. Superior border of the greater trochanter. Line joining PSIS, right? So a few centimeters midpoint, okay, midpoint, few centimeters below the few centimeters, okay, that means below the piriformis muscle only, okay, that is called as sciatic nerve block, right? We will discuss its main branches later. That means tibial nerve 1, common peroneal nerve. Coming to the different sacral plexus nerves that supplies the gluteal region. These are the different nerves in gluteal region apart from sciatic nerve, right? So in the gluteal region there is sciatic nerve and inferior gluteal nerve. The inferior gluteal nerve arises from the dorsal branches of the fifth lumbar and first and second sacral ventral rami. It leaves the pelvis via greater sciatic foramen below the piriformis and divides into branches that enter the deep surface of the gluteus maximus. So you see, this is the inferior gluteal nerve, right? Inferior gluteal artery and nerve. Inferior gluteal nerve, right? Here it is more clear now. Inferior gluteal nerve below greater sciatic foramen, okay? Coming from greater sciatic foramen along with sciatic nerve. So it is the inferior gluteal nerve, okay? This one. Superior gluteal nerve. The superior gluteal nerve arises from the dorsal branches of the fourth, fifth, and S1 ventral rami. Accompanied by the superior gluteal vessels, the nerve leaves the pelvis via greater sciatic foramen above the piriformis, right? Above the piriformis and divides into superior and inferior branches. Superior branch accompanies the upper branch of the deep divisions of the superior gluteal artery to supply gluteus medius and occasionally minimus. Inferior branch runs with the lower ramus of the deep division of the superior gluteal artery across gluteus minimus and supply the medius, minimus, and ends in the tensor fasciae latae. Okay, that is about inferior gluteal artery and superior gluteal artery. Now, so you see, this one is the superior gluteal nerve, which is coming from the greater sciatic foramen above the piriformis muscle, supplying the medius and tensor fasciae latae and minimus. Again, this is the lateral superior gluteal nerve, right? Again, superior gluteal nerve, okay, this part. Again, this one, superior gluteal nerve. Pudendal nerve, we will discuss it later in the perineum. Perforating cutaneous nerve. Perforating cutaneous nerve usually arises from the posterior aspect of the second and third sacral ventral spinal rami. It pierces sacrotuberous ligament, curves around the inferior border of the gluteus maximus and supplies the skin over the infromedial aspect of this muscle, right? The nerve may arise from the pudendal nerve or it may be absent, in which case it may be replaced either by a branch from the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve or from the third and fourth or fifth sacral ventral rami. Sometimes it may arise from the pudendal nerve and it supplies the skin infromedial aspect of the gluteus maximus. Coming to the nerve to quadratus femoris, ventral branches of the fourth lumbar vertebrae and S1, L4 to S1. It leaves the pelvis via greater sciatic foramen below the piriformis, descends on the ischium deep to the sciatic nerve, the gemellae and the tendon of obturator internus and supplies the gemellus inferior, quadratus femoris and the hip joint. Now to obturator internus. Obturator internus arises from the ventral branches of the fifth lumbar to S1 and S2. It leaves pelvis via greater sciatic foramen below the piriformis, supplies a branch to the upper posterior surface of the gemellus superior, crosses ischial spine lateral to the internal pudendal vessels, re-enters the pelvis via the lesser sciatic foramen and enters the pelvic surface of obturator internus. So it re-enters the pelvis. So So this is the obturator internus with its nerve, and this is the quadratus femoris muscle with its nerve, right? Coming to the another branch, posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, right? Or posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, or posterior femoral cutaneous nerve of the thigh, which rises from the sacral plexus. Posterior femoral cutaneous nerve arises from the dorsal branches of the first and second and ventral branches of the second and third, S1, S2, S1, S2, dorsal, ventral rami. It leaves the pelvis via crater foramen below piriformis muscle and descends onto gluteus maximus with the inferior gluteal vessels lying posterior or medial to the sciatic nerve. So it is medial to the sciatic nerve. It descends in the back of the thigh, superficial to the long head of the biceps femoris. Okay, deep to the deep fascia lata. It pierces the deep fascia behind the knee and accompanies the short saphenous vein to mid calf. Its terminal twigs connecting with the soral nerve. Okay, remember that. So it communicates with the soral nerve, posterior communicating nerve of the thigh, cutaneous nerve of the thigh. Its branches are cutaneous and are distributed to the gluteal region, perineum, posterior thigh, and proximal posterior leg. Right? 3 or 4 gluteal branches that are called as inferior cluneal nerves curl around the lower part of the gluteus maximus to supply the skin over the inferolateral portion of the muscle. Okay. Perineal branch supplies the superomedial skin of in the thigh, superior and medial. Superomedial skin in the thigh curves forward across the hamstrings below the ischial tuberosity, pierces the fascia lata and then runs in the superficial perineal fascia to the scrotal or labial skin. So perineal branch supplies the perineum also. It communicates with the inferior rectal and posterior scrotal or labial branches of the perineal nerve and gives numerous branches to the skin of the back and medial side of the thigh, popliteal fossa, and proximal part of the back of the leg. Right? One study found perineal branch of the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh in about 1/2 of the specimens. So you see, this is the posterior cutaneous branch of the thigh. This is sciatic nerve. This is the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. Right? This is inferior cluneal nerves, and these are the ones who communicates with the soral nerve of the leg. So you see, this is the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. Okay, coming medial to the sciatic nerve, right? You see, so as this is a cutaneous branch, posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, okay, giving rise to the inferior cluneal nerves, which supplies the inferomedial aspect of the gluteus maximus. You see, inferior cluneal nerves, medial cluneal nerves directly from sacral plexus, and superior cluneal nerves. Okay, so this is this aspect, and this aspect. Whole cutaneous circulation, innervation. See, again, same thing. So this is the perineal branches, cluneal nerves, and posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. Okay, the whole of skin. This is the posterior femoral cutaneous, which is in the purple. Okay, purple color is posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. See, the whole of this is cutaneous innervation. Now to piriformis usually arise from the dorsal branches of the first and second sacral ventral rami and enters the anterior surface of the piriformis. So superior gluteal nerve, inferior gluteal nerve, posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, sciatic nerve, and pudendal nerve. And direct branches are nerve to piriformis, nerve to obturator internus, nerve to quadratus femoris. Right? So these are the different things. Okay, with that we end the nerves of the gluteal region. Now let's see. So you see, this is the sacral plexus, right? The formation of sacral plexus, right? That is sciatic nerve, but these are the sacral plexus. Okay, this is the anterior sacral foramina. Okay, so that is the sciatic nerve. Okay, you see the bulk of it, right? Sciatic nerve. Okay, sciatic nerve. So you see, okay. So greater sciatic foramen is there. This muscle selected blue one is the piriformis. So it is coming from below the piriformis muscle, right? And the selected nerve is posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. Okay, posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, right? So that is piriformis, right? This one is obturator internus, gemellae superior and gemellae inferior. This is quadratus femoris. So you see, quadratus femoris lies between the hip joint and sciatic nerve, right? That is the relation. You see, this is the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, right? Posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, right? Okay, along with sciatic nerve. Okay, this is the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh coming medial to the sciatic nerve. Okay. Okay. So this one is superior gluteal nerve. Okay. Now to superior gluteal, you see, from directly from sacral plexus. Okay. Greater sciatic foramina above the piriformis muscle, right? Above the piriformis muscle, you see, this one is the piriformis muscle. So superior gluteal nerve is coming above the piriformis muscle and supplying, that is the minimus. Okay, I have removed the medius and you see, this is the TFL, facial latae. This is the inferior gluteal nerve. Okay, coming directly from the plexus itself. Okay, you see, so it is coming from, you see, this is the piriformis, below the piriformis and supplying the medius, right? This one is the inferior gluteal nerve, right? This is the quadratus femoris, right? Quadratus femoris muscle, and there is now to quadratus femoris. We'll remove these muscles, superior gemellus, obturator internus, this one. Let's also delete piriformis muscle, that is. So you see, so from plexus, this is the now to quadratus femoris. Now to quadratus femoris, right? So that is regarding let me show you something. Okay. So this is the both superior and inferior gluteal nerves. That is superior gluteal nerve, and this one is inferior gluteal nerve. You see, this is the piriformis. So you see, okay. Now it is more clear. That is superior gluteal, and this is inferior gluteal. Right? With that, we are the nerves of the gluteal region. Okay. Any doubts?